Divine greetings of gratitude, family. Welcome to Magical Eden. If y'all are new here, my name is Cassandra. I'm the witch, author, and poet of Magical Eden. Welcome to your new spiritual safe haven. And if y'all are returning, hey family, welcome back to our sacred garden. I'm always honored, excited, and elated to be in your presence. As you can tell, the energy is very high today. We're outside. I've got the kids over to my left. They're all playing and things like that. And I've also got my partner who is behind me, and our cat who is not sure whether she wants to come outside or not. She's just kind of sniffing around, and I'm over here in my sacred space on my on this meditation mat, right? And we're at this altar here that we kind of put outside for the time being, and we're going to be pulling some cards because I wanted to give some final messages for this Virgo lunar eclipse, this Virgo full moon, and it's also going to be a lunar eclipse, and it's going to be happening on March the 14th at 2:55 a.m. And you guys are going to be hearing some noises in the background because the kids are outside having a good time and whatnot, and y'all know how boys get. They get loud, they get noisy. Also, there is a dog over at the neighbor's house who likes to pop up when he hears us come outside, or when he or she hears us outside, and it likes to bark and whatnot. So you may hear that. You guys may hear some noise, some aircraft flying over, because here in Virginia the aircraft is, it's wild out here. So anyway, and we're also outside where it feels really good out here today. The weather has been pretty wonky. The birds are out singing and things like that. So it definitely is a vibe today. I don't know about y'all, but I'm channeling my inner Virgo because I do really appreciate Virgo energy. And Virgo energy and Taurus energy always reminds me to get outside and not be so corporate behind the desk and things like that. So that's the reason why I chose to do this reading outside today. So again, this is going to be just a quick tarot pull to see what other final messages that we have for this Virgo full moon. If you guys did not know this, I actually posted up I actually did a blog post about the Virgo full moon. So if you guys want to know the ins and outs of that, you know, and what we can expect and things of that nature, and the type of tools that we're going to be working with this as far as our spiritual essentials go, that's also going to be in the blog. So I'll make sure to link the blog down below. I'm also doing this video in honor of one of our Soul Tribe members. I asked on my story on Instagram if you guys would prefer, you know, if you guys would like for me to do more blog posts, or if you guys prefer that I do videos, or, you know, which ones that you guys like best. And one of our Soul Tribe members said that they like when I do the videos because they can, you know, tune in and whatnot, because sometimes, you know, they have like a little bit of things going on like with their eyes and whatnot, so they like to, you know, engage in the actual video. So this video is dedicated to you. Okay, so the funny thing is that the first card that I'm actually seeing right now is the Hermit, which I'm not even surprised to see. And the Hermit card actually is connected to Virgo, and the Hermit card actually is, again, it's connected to Virgo. Speaking of which, oh my goodness, okay, it's already happening, y'all. You guys know what happens. Like, it's so wild to see that, not wild, but it's just truly divine to see these three cards coming out, because for one, both of these cards here, the Hermit and the Magician, the Magician actually is ruled by, you know, just Mercury, and the Hermit is ruled by Virgo, but both of these are Virgo energies, being that they're ruled by Mercury, because Virgo is ruled by Mercury, even though it is an earth sign, right? So the first thing that I want to say is that the fact that we have the Hermit and then the Magician, and then also the Fool card here, which is a very I don't want to call it like a chaotic card, but it's chaotic being that it connects directly to untapped and untamed potential, right? It's like this universal card, or this card of the void, and in this void everything exists and nothing exists, if that makes sense. So when you're dealing with the Fool card, you're dealing with this energy that has not manifested yet, but the funny thing about it is that it's actually, we're working on manifesting that, being that we do have the Magician card here. The fact that the Hermit card shows up, it shows up when there's this type where we have to start analyzing things. It's this type of card that shows us that we must sit, that we must analyze, that we must observe, and that we also must detach from our emotional feelings and whatnot when it comes to making observations and making sound judgment. So the fact that we see the Hermit card here along with the Magician, along with the Fool, this is us kind of sitting down and tuning into our internal, so that we can see what we are wanting to see play out in our world, but also what we need to do, what skill sets we have, what we need to implement, and what we need to do in order to make these things play out, and not make them play out, but to allow them to play out in our reality. So what I'm hearing is that this is actually a reality shift for a lot of people. So the message that we have right now is that we need to start using our inner ability, our I don't know why, but I'm hearing like motive. It's like, what is your motive? That to me actually points to the part of the reading where not the reading, but the blog post where we talked about how people will start to show their motives. I feel like the intentions of people are going to start coming out now, and it's going to show you how you can move. But I do feel like if there's someone that is coming into your reality or reappearing in your life, this is not the time to take it personal. If anything, this is the time to sit back and observe and wait on divine answers. The Hermit card is a card that it's the mystic, right? It's one of the mystics. It is the one that gets to the why. It gets to the root. It gets to the surface level things. It is not a superficial card at all. In fact, it is a very observing, and it also does have very sound judgment. So whenever you see the Hermit card pop up, I know that at times you tend to say things like, oh, this is me going into the cave, or this is me spending time to just myself. I'm going into hermit mode because, there's like a lot going on, and people go into the space of like retreat because they want to go internal. In this instance, because even though that is true, in this instance, it's spending enough time to yourself so that you can think and analyze and spend time in your imagination and your intuition, because there's a lot of things that you're going to be getting into, but you have to be strategic. Whenever the Magician card pops up, it's not just about manifesting things. It's not just about wanting to see things it's not just about us wanting things to appear into our reality. It's one of the cards that says that we need to have our confidence. We need to be in spaces where we're not just we're allowed, but we need to be in spaces where we know that because we are pure with our intentions, that these things will manifest, especially if we have the right skill set. So this to me is pointing to you analyzing and you thinking about and you observing, okay, what skill sets do I have? Where do I lack confidence if I don't have any confidence? What voyage or venture am I getting into, and what does this look like? But also, Spirit, I want to open up my heart and my mind to see what it is that you also have for me as well. Does that make sense? So that's kind of what I'm feeling with this. So we're going to actually pull a few more cards. For this Virgo full moon, I also don't want you to get caught up in overanalyzing things. And as I say that, we have the King of Swords in reverse here. This is not one of those things where you want to overly analyze things. This is not one of those times where you want to be overly critical. Instead of being harsh and coming with a cutthroat way of communicating, because of course Mercury is retrograde, will be retrograde as of the 14th. We also don't want to get into a space where we're overly analyzing, being overly critical, being overly dominating when our thought processes. If anything, we want to take a step back and think about what we're saying and why we're saying it, and really think about how it's affecting ourselves as well as other people. Because for whatever reason, I'm feeling like this is one of those moments where we think that, or we need to know that we are not only doing this for ourselves, but we're doing this for the collective. How can I use what I can right now to be of service to other people? Because Virgo is also the sign of being of service. Now, you can anyone can argue about this, but I feel and I believe deep in my soul that we all exude every zodiac sign, just some more than others, right? Some people it's more obvious, for some people it's more apparent, for some people you just feel it, right? Like when people, for example, get to know me, or not even like when they get to know me, but when they meet me, the first thing they feel is Saturn, because I have a 9th house stellium in the sign of Capricorn, and my Saturn actually sits in Aquarius in the 10th house when it's in whole signs. So people sometimes they feel immediately that Capricorn Saturn type of energy, which I do get, but what they don't know and what they won't know until they talk to me is that I actually could be very philosophical, is that my rising is Taurus, so my chart is like Venus, like, you know what I mean? So it really just kind of depends on the energy that you're exuding. That's so funny that I'm mentioning that, because I do feel that at this time of the full moon, we're going to start realizing where we have been overly critical of ourselves and over other people because of whatever preconceived judgments that we may have because of our own experiences. And for some people, what they're realizing is that I've been overly critical of myself. I've been overly judgmental over myself because of past experiences. And this is the part where I do feel afraid. I do feel like if you guys are having any fears that are coming up right now, we have the Wheel of Fortune. Of course, we have the Wheel of Fortune, because this is a card that has been popping out a lot during this time. So I do feel like this is the time in our life where we are definitely fated with realizing or coming to terms, or we are seeing where we have been where we have not been as kind, where we have not been as understanding where we have been way too critical again with ourselves and other people, because Virgo is that sign that deals with judgment, but it can be very critical. It definitely can be. It can be very judgmental at times, because Virgo is one of those signs that wants to figure out what the problem is. It zooms in and it zooms out. It zooms in and zooms out to try to figure out what the problem is, what the root cause is, which is very amazing, which is very beautiful. At the same time, if it's not balanced, it can definitely be more detrimental to your mental health. Some people at the time of the full moon may become more aware of any mental health issues that they may have lingering that they haven't resolved yet. For some people, yes, baby.
We saw 2 worms.
You seen 2 worms?
Yeah, and then they were kind of weird.
They were kind of weird. Did you guys put them in the garden?
No, because they were in the dirt, and I didn't want to look at it.
Okay, no, I understand. Kai, go put that worm in the garden, please. Ew, you guys need to wash your hands too. Go play. I'm recording, okay? Go play. So, sorry about that, you guys. You guys already know, like I said, I have kids in the background and they get interested, and you know how boys get. If you know, you know. Anyways, well, not just boys, but just kids in general. So basically what I feel is that this is definitely a time where you guys, please be excuse me, swinging sticks, you can hurt yourself. Be careful, please. You can hurt yourself or someone else. Thank you. So basically, where was I at? I'm so sorry, you guys, my bad. Okay, so basically, yes, like Virgo can definitely be a very critical sign, because it wants to figure out what the root cause is, and this can be very amazing. But if you're not balanced, then that's when, you know, you start feeling chaotic. You start feeling as if everything's falling apart. Excuse me, you guys, for zooming through this reading. I have a lot of high energy right now. If you guys did not oh, by the way, speaking of having high energy, for those of y'all that don't know this, I had been struggling a lot with PCOS symptoms and whatnot, and a lot of it was because of trauma that I was dealing with in my own life, because I had my former husband passed away, right, as you guys know, and it got so bad to the point where I started experiencing like really bad health issues, because I was always trying to show up and do something. I wasn't slowing down enough, and it played out in my health. Please take me for example. Please take care of yourselves. Just because you are going through a traumatic experience in your life does not make you less credible as a healer than anything else. If anything, it makes you more credible because you are experiencing it head on. But not only that, it's a time where you can go back into yourself to seek the holistic healing that you need, right? Funny enough that we're talking about the Hermit, because the Hermit actually is connected to Virgo, which is connected to Chiron, which Chiron is the wounded healer in astrology. But it also talks about how we ironically have a hard time healing ourselves, but that very same medicine that we have a hard time receiving, that is connected to the past life, right? Because Chiron does connect to our past life, we give that medicine to someone else, or we administer that to someone else, and ironically it helps them. But with us, for whatever reason, it's like we kind of fail to at times, right? In my instance, what I've learned is that I was giving people advice, you know, to maybe you want to do this, and you know, you want to put yourself first and all that. But Capricorn energy, we tend to give people the advice that we need, and then we tend to ignore the things that we need, if that makes sense, right? Virgo, on the other hand, more than likely is the sign that says, you know what, I'm giving this advice to other people, and I'm also going to take it for myself, because I know that by me taking it for myself, I can actually implement that, and then things can run a lot more smoothly, which can allow me to show up for my purpose a lot more, which can ultimately bring in some type of income, wealth, and prosperity, not in a selfish way, but in a way that everybody wins. Does that make sense? So I feel like we're learning how to prioritize our health, and we are really taking more of a holistic approach. Now, I just heard the words back and forth. So some people may be back and forth and in between things. It could be like a hospital, it could be with like hospital visits, or it could be where they're back and forth between doctors where they need a second opinion or like a third opinion. Remember in Doctor Strange, in the Doctor Strange movie in Marvel, where it said you didn't need a second opinion, you needed a competent one? That's the vibe I'm getting right now. I'm not saying that. Okay, so one thing that I don't want to say or make it seem like is that it's where you're being arrogant, or that someone is arrogant. I thought about that because it's so funny. Because if I had to give Doctor Strange a sign, one of his signs would definitely be Virgo. Like, not even kidding. Well, because he was a surgeon, right? And I think he was a neurosurgeon or something like that. Anyway, I would probably give him like a Leo moon or like a Leo rising, by the way, because he's so like intense. He's so into himself. But anyway, that's not the point of what I'm making. The point what I'm making is that you may want to go and get like second, third, and fourth opinions, but what you're really looking for is that really sound judgment for someone to be like, you know what, this is what the true problem is, this is what they're not saying, this is what they're overlooking, because Virgo does pay attention to the details. That in itself means that we need to be paying attention to the minor details, because over time, if we are not taking not just like accountability, but if we're not looking at those things and we keep ignoring them, over time they will have really strong impacts at some point. And so that's what Virgo wants us to remember. Now, I don't know why I keep bringing myself into this, but I feel the reason why I need to do this is because I would hate for you guys to go through this. And if I can use myself as an example or put myself on blast, then perhaps maybe, and that bird agrees, I love it, like perhaps maybe it can help somebody else, right? My Chiron actually is in Virgo. So if you have a Chiron in Virgo, my heart goes out to you, because I know that it is hard. I know it is hard. It is not an easy thing to deal with. Having a Chiron in Virgo, when Chiron connects to Virgo on top of that, like, it is just so wild. And it's so interesting because I'm hearing the word fibroids, which is interesting because some people may be having fibroids or whatnot. The underlying cause is for that. I mean, you would have to get that checked out, obviously, but it's where it could be anything. Like, it could be like the sugar intake, it could be something that you're eating, you know, fibroids or whatnot. Like, these things feed off of like sugars and like processed foods and things of that nature. And it's all about us understanding that as long as we are implementing a more holistic diet and we're eating the things that nourish our bodies, that nourish our womb space, like, these are things that can help us over time. And understand too, Virgo reminds us, this is not anything that's going to be a quick fix. Some things are absolutely quick fixes, yes, but in some cases it's more so you have to put the work in consistently, and then you will see it over time play out in a way that is more favorable, right? So the fact that we have the Wheel of Fortune here, I'm not surprised to see the Wheel of Fortune right now, because these are times where this is like a faded time again, where it's not anything that's like favorable or unfavorable or good or bad or yes or no. It's more so like, this is just simply what this is, and this is what I meant to learn from this, because no matter which way I turn, I was going to run into this anyway. So what is this trying to teach me? What is the why? What is the root? What is the reason? And even when I find myself having more questions, I know that I'm going to surrender to this divine purpose, and I'm going to use what I have learned in order to help me, right? In order to help myself, in order to help other people, in order to help the collective. This is a time of planning. This is a time of getting things straight, reprioritizing, implementing things, taking things out, discarding, omitting, boundaries, all of those things. And also, I keep wanting to say this, I feel like you really want to start taking your health seriously, you guys. There is an emphasis on health, even though that's not the only thing. Depending on your rising, this could play out in many different ways. You may be critical over the way that you're coming out to the world, or your image or self-image, if it's in your first house, if this moon is transiting your first house. And your second house, you're really thinking about, what is it, like, what kind of money am I making? What do I value? Why do I value these things? How am I choosing to make money? What can I implement in order to help, raise, do I need to raise my value? Like, what is it, right? Third house, how am I communicating? What is it that I'm trying to get across? Like, what do I need to say? Like, what do I not need to say? I need to reflect on this. Is there anyone that's coming into my reality right now that's saying certain things that are pissing me off? Like, what is it? Like, I don't like the way they're saying this. I don't like the way they pronounce their words. Like, I don't like the way they have a lisp or something. It's like, you have to think about, how are you judging other people for how they're communicating, and what are you wanting to communicate? And is this worth even really saying, or is what you're saying really beneficial to the collective, right? If it's your home, if it's the fourth house, maybe you are maybe you're thinking about what's been going on in your home recently, what's been going on in your past. Maybe you've had an issue with your mom that's coming up right now. Maybe there's some type of healing that needs to be had in terms of the motherhood, and maybe in your own life as a mother, right? Or maybe it's something in the third house, also dealing with siblings and things like that, yes. Anyway, my mind is just like everywhere. I'm sorry, you guys. Anyway, moving on. Fourth house again, the home life, like what's going on in my home, in my personal life right now, like what's going on immediately, like what are things that I can do in my day-to-day life, not daily life, but because that's sixth house, but dealing with fourth house, like what can I do in my home that can make things run more efficiently and bring things more to an equilibrium? Like, what can I do holistically to help myself, my family, right? And things of that nature. Fifth house, like what is it that is, do I have any fertility issues? Are there anything going on? Is there anything going on with my womb space? Where do I feel like I can express myself? Why do I feel like I can express myself? Do I prevent other people from expressing themselves? Do they feel restricted? Do they feel like they're under a microscope? Like, what's going on here, right? And then you have 6th house. What can I do in my day-to-day to help me run more efficiently? What can I do in my ritual, right? Because 6th house deals with day-to-day routines, co-workers, your service to others, right? Like your occupation and things like that, as far as like other people are concerned. And being of service. What can I do differently to make this more efficiently? How can I change up my routine and my ritual? That way, what I'm doing throughout the day, right, so that it can actually help me in the long run. How am I coming across to my coworkers and my one-on-one partnerships and my relationship with dealing with 7th house energy? 8th house, there may be something dealing with, you know, thinking about, especially because Mercury also is retrograde too. I know I'm speeding through this, but I have so much energy and I'm just kind of spilling it out. So thank y'all for being patient, by the way. 8th house is like, there may be an emphasis on your resources, other people's resources. How can I use this resource in order to help me, right? Like, what secrets are being revealed to me right now? What other motives do other people have? Are people jealous? Am I jealous? Like, what's going on here? Like, what are my fears? Like, what is it that's pushing me to my limits to help me grow, transform, and evolve, right? And then your 9th house, it's like, okay, how can I take these higher ideas and implement them in a way that can be of service? What am I learning? What am I teaching? Am I being called to take on any more courses? Am I wanting to really get serious about going back to school? Like, do I want to research? Do I want to study? Where am I traveling to? Where is my next trip going to come from? How can I receive the most spiritual insight coming from this trip? If I were to go on this voyage, if I were to travel, is this going to be beneficial to me, my well-being, to my health? Am I going to go on a spiritual retreat? Am I going to go on a health retreat? Like, what am I doing, right? Like, how is this going to help me to expand my consciousness, right? And then then it's your 10th house. It's okay, what am I doing in my career? Like, how am I appearing to the public? And is the way that I'm appearing to the public truly authentic to me? Is this something that I can see lasting in the long run? Am I afraid of judgment when it comes to other people? Am I afraid of not making enough money? Like, am I afraid that if I don't do this, that I won't experience the prosperity and abundance? Like, what can I do differently? How can I bring a more authentic approach to my career? And these are just examples, you guys, by the way. Also, when it comes to your 11th house, am I being of service to these groups and these organizations? Am I overly giving and overly doing when it comes to being a part of these groups and these organizations? Do I feel like, how am I meant to show up for these groups and people in a way that is purposeful to me, right? These are just simply examples, again, you guys. And then in 12th house, what is it that I have not realized yet that is holding me back right now? Do I feel any limitations? Like, what is this ultimate undoing? Is this a cause of my own doing? Is this because I'm allowing someone else to do this? Am I not valuable enough? It's like one of these things where you have to sit and think about, like, how is this affecting me on a subconscious level? Like, how does my mind work? What is being shown to me? Yes, sweetie.
Rashad went in the soil.
Okay. Rashad, get out the soil. Get out the garden.
There's soil in his hair.
I see it. He's gonna get his hair washed tonight. It's okay. He's gonna have to deal with that with that hair wash. Thank you guys. Okay, anyway, so basically that's essentially what the type of energy we're dealing with. And other cards that we have here, we have the Queen of Cups. This is the time for us to be gentle with ourselves. It's not one of those things where we want to, okay, thank you. I love that. Did y'all hear that bird? That bird is like, yes. I'm just playing around, you guys. Anyway, so basically this is not one of those times. Speaking of fertility issues, we have the Empress in reverse here. So basically, what was I saying? Yes, this is not one of those times where we want to be overly critical. We want to give ourselves grace and other people grace, and understand that even though things are not perfectly the way that I would envision them to be, it doesn't mean that they won't be at some point, right? Because we have in our minds things that we want to see, that we wish to see, and we have like a certain idea of how these things should be. But then there's the divine that says, your logical mind is limited as to what you can pick up and understand. But if you allow yourself to move past your own understanding of things, that you'll see just how good life gets. And one thing is that I want to say too, that's coming through, is that you are not always right. Virgo sometimes, if it's unevolved, can think that everything that it says is the way. And there's this arrogance that Virgo tends to have at times. I know this because dealing with Virgos, they tend to get at times that they're unevolved, very arrogant, because they believe that their ideals are the right ones, that what they say goes because, oh, I'm just a Virgo, or because I just know it, oh well, because they've been right in the past. At the same time, it's that arrogance sometimes that trips them up at times. You want to make sure that you are keeping your mind open, because you don't know everything, and it's okay that you don't know everything. There's someone else that may have better math skills than you. There's someone else that may be able to express themselves in a way that is more articulate and in a different way. It doesn't make them better than you. It just means that it's just their expertise. Virgo full moon here is shining a light on what our expertise is and where we need to implement more of that, because we are all here to share this world together. If there was no need for a multiplicity of singularities, there would be no multiplicity of singularities. There will only be one. We are all reflection. We're all just kind of these like walking scrying mirrors revealing shit about each other, right? And we have to remember and understand that no one is always right and no one is always wrong. We are all here learning, and it's okay that we're learning, okay? That's the reason why Spirit is saying is that we need to have grace, compassion, and understanding, and emotional intelligence. I also feel like this is one of those times where we want to connect and ground ourselves, get into nature. There's a dog. You want to make sure that you're grounding yourself and getting connected into nature, and also listen to the earth spirits right now. I feel like they're speaking. Maybe go touch some grass, go meditate for a little while, spend time around your children, spend time around, if you're not spending enough time, you always want to make sure that you're around the people that you love, you care about, your family, your friends, and if you feel called to be alone, that is also okay. I'm here for that as well. Just do what you know brings you, that makes you feel good, that fills you up. Also, home cooked meals, please. Some of you guys eat fast food a lot because you feel like it's more convenient, but if you make that investment by constantly cooking at home, you will see better, like your health will improve and things of that nature. Okay, what do we have from our Sacred Forest Oracle? I'm gonna pull a few charms too. We have here refuge. I love that, refuge. Okay, we have stability here. Okay, and we also have here knowledge. I love this knowledge here. Oh, we have power, and we also have energy. So basically with these, what this makes me feel like is that with this refuge here, this is bringing me to like a safe space. It's a place that you go to when you need healing. It's a place that you go to when you need to feel safe. It's a place that you go to when you feel, whether this place be metaphorical, whether it be spiritual, whatever it may be. This makes me feel like there's something that someone is wanting to go where they can obtain, where they can feel rejuvenated. They want to get their energy back up, because they may feel low on energy, especially if you're feeling really sensitive. Full moons, especially like eclipses, you guys, like oh my goodness, their impacts, the energetic impact, y'all, can last for weeks, months, years at a time. And some people, and I just heard the word like PTSD, someone here may have suffered, and I hope this is not your reality, but some people suffer PTSD because of like what they have experienced in the past, and they need refuge. They need this safe space to go to in order to feel safe and stable. I feel like this is someone being in survival mode, and they no longer want to be in survival mode. And so there's something about the nerves, like the nervous system, their nervous system is unregulated, and it could be because their environment was like always chaotic. So what this makes me feel like is that you are in a space right now where if you go to this refuge, or if you seek refuge in this place that allows you to just simply relax, what I'm seeing is that you're able to actually ramp up your, and I don't know why ramp up your energy, but you can raise your vibration and raise this energetic field. What I also do feel is that with power here, with energy here, there's something that you're wanting to give, and there's something that you're wanting to spread. It's time for you to start doing that now. It's time for you to start playing that now. If you need time to take time to rest, then take time to rest. If you need time to research, do that. But what Spirit is saying is that it wants you to turn knowledge though into wisdom, because knowledge is something that we can obtain, but we turn it into wisdom that can be used. Because to me, where there is wisdom, there is a spiritual lesson that was learned. that could be given as a gift to someone else, right? And the knowledge, to me, is something that you obtain, you read, right? You have the knowledge, but then you actively implement that knowledge, and then that knowledge does become wisdom. So even though we don't see wisdom here, there is wisdom here. We have air spirit, makes sense because we do have a lot of air cards here. We have fire, and we have energy. The lightning here, to me, is symbolic of some type of nutrients that not just nutrients, but something that we need to spark. This looks like changing your diet to something that is more what is it, alkaline. This is bringing me to like an alkaline diet to kind of raise your energy, eating more fruits, more pineapples, more oranges, whatever it may be. Even though, yeah, so whatever it looks like, it may be alkaline, or it may be pineapples, it may be more citrus. Whatever it is that you want to eat to help to raise your vibration, you want to implement that, and you want to eat that. Also, drink more water. I don't know why I feel the need to say drink more water, specifically alkaline water. That's going to help. Whoa. Sheesh. Okay. Anyway. You guys, I have been like... my energy is really high today. My energy is super duper high. I think I should probably do readings outside more often. I think I'm going to do readings outside more often in the spring and in the summer, depending on how hot it is. We have a rebirth is assured. Yep. Okay. And I know you guys see these cards flying out. Set healthy boundaries. I love that. I hope you guys can see this, but yeah, it looks a little dark. Setting healthy boundaries also looks like you setting boundaries with yourself. If y'all know damn well that y'all reaching for them cookies, come on now. Well, it's okay to treat yourself every now and then, you know what I mean? But if you make it like a habitual habit, it will have long-lasting impacts. Also, set healthy boundaries to be serious. I feel like it also does include you raising the bar, raising your price, and you teaching people how to treat you with the boundaries that you set. I know that Virgo energy is notoriously known for being very picky as to who they want into their space, because we tend to say things like being picky, but that's just an egotistical way of saying that they are very intentional about who they want in their space. We need to channel that. If there are people that are trying to come back into your life, I don't know why, but I keep hearing spirit say to like take your time and to like just make sure that you take your time, and if they have to wait, then so be it. Because I feel like there's someone here, and this is stop. Turn knowledge into wisdom. Oh my goodness. I love when that happens. Oh, it feels so good outside. It feels so good out here. Anyway, you want to make sure that you learn your lesson from that. And also, if someone is like trying to rush you to make a decision, you don't have to fall into that. Set the boundary. A rebirth is assured. People are going to have to really understand like how to take you, but also how to come at you again. Like they're gonna have to learn their lesson. Like they have to learn. They just simply have to learn. For some of you, you're no longer in a specific environment, and because of that, you are more clear. You could have been in a very toxic environment, but now you're more clear, and you can hear more, you can see more, you can feel more, it's like all the toxins are coming out. Like, even though it may look unfavorable where you have to like move from like space to space, at least and it's so crazy to say this because at the end of the day, we all want security, and that's all that I would ever wish for you. Security, prosperity, love, abundance of all things divine. And I feel like now you're in a space where you may be finding yourself kind of having to go out into nature more because of a living situation. I feel like this is like the perfect time to start figuring out like, okay, how can I take this time right now to connect so that I can actually get to this other space? Does that make sense? That was like that message just kind of came through out of nowhere. Whoever needed to hear that, I hope you got what you needed out of that. So with this armadillo, set healthy boundaries. This to me is this armadillo spirit. If you think about an armadillo shell, it keeps out the predators, and I'm sorry about that, you guys. I thought I heard something. Give me 1 second. Okay, no, that's okay. Never mind. So basically, yes, the armadillo shell. It's symbolic of you going into this space and almost kind of like a turtle as well. Like you go into this space and this armor, it's this armor. They cannot move past your armor, if that makes sense. So your armor is not in a forceful approach, but if anything, it's just you simply existing and you being authentically who you are is the boundary. Like that's what it feels like, okay? Turn knowledge into wisdom. We did say that earlier. Turn knowledge into wisdom. This wolf spirit here, this is pointing me to somebody who's stepping into leadership and who's now taking everything that they learned and they're giving it as a gift, or they're taking this, they're turning this wisdom into something, or giving the wisdom that they've created to give to someone else, or to give to a group of people, or to give to the soul tribe. Also, I feel like we are all inherently born with some kind of like, we are all born with the wisdom in us, and that wisdom can be found in our birth chart, and that wisdom can be found in the moments where we show up and we just say something or we do something, and then it lets somebody else know, or it gives them like a specific message, or they needed to see what we did, or they needed to hear what we have to say. It's because there's something that's already within us that we're wired to have to give to the world. And I feel like that's this wisdom thing here. It's like we already have it. It's already within you. You are the wisdom. If you don't know what that wisdom is, look to your birth chart. Look to your birth chart. And Spirit, what is the final card that we're pulling here? Because I know our time is definitely here. Our time is, that sounds like Debo. Oh, okay. Yep, that's Debo. Okay, this is a lot of cards here. That's so funny. Tend to the small things. Tend to the small things. The abundant universe will provide. I love that. I feel like this is an indication to focus. This is definitely an indication that it's time to focus, right? And really pay attention to those minute things, because those minute things, like I said, can add up over time. And also the abundant universe will provide. This is going to sound a little bit different than what we're used to hearing. If you have an abundance of negativity, the universe will provide that. If you have an abundance of positivity, then the universe will provide that, because it's always responding to you. So if you're always saying, I don't have this, I don't have that, well, you're not going to have it then, because you keep saying that. And it is not even just about you saying it, it's about you believing that. So whatever you are believing that you are abundant of, that is what you're going to be abundant of. And I know that it may sound silly with us saying, okay, I'm fit, I'm healthy, knowing that your body is more in like critical condition, but you'll be surprised as to what the body can do if you believe it. I did not believe that I would ever get past these PCOS symptoms, and when I tell you, my body is so different now. Like I feel like I'm more energetic. I can remember things better now. The brain fog is not here like as much. Actually, I should say that, like, it's not there as much. Like I can do fasting for longer periods of time. I can also go back to doing readings without eating anything. Like you can do this. Like if this if this full moon is going to teach you anything, it's to how to be perfectly imperfect, and that you can do it. Like you can do this, okay? You can do this, right? And also my 5-year-old the other day, we were on a walk, we went for a walk yesterday, and he was like, Mom, you can't run from your shadow. That's funny because he's right. Like you can't run from your shadow. We were playing around, but anyway. So yeah, when he said that, I was like, look, that is so divine. This kid here had the wisdom to tell me you can't run from your shadow. And I was like, you know what? You're right. You are so right. And that's also a theme for this Virgo full moon. You cannot run from your shadow, babe. We're gonna face it. We're gonna face those fears, and we got it. Okay, let's go ahead and do a what is this, charm pull. Okay, now we are outside. It's gonna get loud. I'm just gonna go ahead, or it might. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, Spirit, what are the last and final messages? Okay, so it looks like we have here, we have the number 6. That points me to the 6th house. You have a key here, you have a sun here. We have quite a few keys actually. This is making me think about someone who's like really independent, who is wanting to start things for themselves. It's so interesting that I'm saying that because you do have here the Fool card again. No, this is the World card. You have the World card here. The tarot, not the tarot. Yeah, the tarot charm piece. That definitely does scream that you're wanting to venture off and to do something independently, but also there's this need for connection. And I say that because you do have the seed of life here, or the flower of life, and the flower of life does connect to this cosmic connection of things coming together in perfect harmony in order to burst something beautiful, right? Look up the symbolism of the flower of life, and we're not going to talk about that right now. I can go into that in another video. Let me know down in the comments if you want to hear my perspective. I do feel like this is one of those moments where you want to think about the authentic gifts and talents that you have and how you can come together to collaborate with other people and still be independent. Because what you're doing is, what I'm seeing you guys do is you're bringing people on board in order to help you. And this goes back to the message that we had in the blog. You want to bring people on board who can do their job so that you can do yours. And I also feel, I just heard the word music. Like someone may want to work with like classical music in the background. Someone may be wanting to get into music. Whatever you do, make sure that's what Spirit is saying, is that you give your intuitive gifts and talents in the process, and also share that with the world as well. And it's so funny because I do see a planet here. I don't know what planet that is. It could be Saturn. It looks like it may be Saturn because it has a ring around it. So this makes me feel like you want to start getting more structured in your way of doing things. This is a time to definitely structure yourself. You may want to talk to a Capricorn friend who's really good with structuring things because it just comes naturally. And or if your friend is not Capricorn but they exude a lot of Capricorn energy, then you want to talk with them, get with them to see how they can structure themselves, because they're going to give you, if it's one thing a Capricorn is going to tell you is the truth, and they're not going to have their feelings involved if they're evolved. Trust me. And just trust me. Also, you have the Sun charm here twice. I'm seeing that if you are doing what you need to do, it is a guarantee that you're going to get the result that you want. If you don't do the work, you're not going to get it. Like, that's just what this is for some of y'all. For others of you, you are experiencing where you can just simply be feminine and receptive and people do it for you. Hey, by all means, go ahead and do that. That's not everyone's reality. If they want it to be, at some point, maybe it will. That's up to them. But I do see music being involved. I see like an artistic, something very artistic. Like, you could be, I just heard you could be a singer. You could be someone that is you have like very strong artistic abilities and qualities, and it's time to start connecting and collaborating with other people who are like-minded to help get that out for you. I'm also seeing something about the crown chakra and the solar plexus. Your crown chakra is what received the downloads, and your solar plexus helps you to express that. So I'm seeing that you are taking these higher dimensional ideas, or these ideas from this higher realm, and you're expressing that through your music. You're expressing it through your creative endeavors. And I feel, I just heard the word lucrative. It's going to bring you a lot. Live your dream. Absolutely. This makes me feel like you guys are literally about to start seeing it play out. Get ready, because that shit's gonna happen, and I'm so happy for you. I'm glad, I'm excited, and I'm just overall happy. 6th house, this deal, that's a very divinely feminine number. It's also bringing me to the 6th house in astrology, and also the number of like the home. It also brings me and connects me to Cancer. So anyway, take what you need from that. Thank y'all for tuning into this video. I'm not editing one thing. I made some mistakes in this video, and I'm not even gonna worry about it. I'm just gonna post it. Thank you all for tuning into this video with me. If y'all need anything from me, please feel free to visit me online at CassandraTurner.com. You guys can also follow along with me on Instagram over at Magic of Eden. Also, make sure that you guys are subscribed, because I'm going to be giving a lot more videos and whatnot. I'm going to be sharing a lot more wisdom that I've learned along the way, and I'm just here to build a community, and I'm excited, and I'm glad, and I'm finally trusting myself to be more consistent and show up anyway. Thank you guys for sending this also to people who you think would benefit from it. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I love y'all, and I'll catch you in my next video.